Good morning, everybody. Welcome to About Time. I'm Karan at About Time CK. Today we're here with, you've met him before, Mr. Craig Weiss.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Craig, how are you?
The logo is front and center.
I know it is.
I'm
Craig,
good. How are you doing today? Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning. If there's another device that's connected, if you don't mind putting the volume down because it's echoing for any reason, if you have anything else on YouTube or
I
anything,
know.
you're good? Okay, great. Well, let's start with the customary wrist check, Craig. What are you wearing today?
Yeah. So, no change since the last time I saw you, but I know I don't get to hang out with your loyal listeners too often. So, I'm still rocking my Blast Skeleton X,
Oh,
which for
nice.
me, and you can see the transparency there. It's definitely one of the finest skeletons, I think,
Right.
that gives you the most transparency and almost a straight line movement from the barrel up top to the escapement. That is my daily driver, man. 6-7 days a week.
Gorgeous, gorgeous watch. I am wearing something that you sent me. I am
Very
wearing
nice.
Marine Tourbillon. Thank you so much for it. I really, really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's another good daily driver. That's another good tourbillon that you can just strap on and take pretty much anywhere with you.
exactly, exactly. Well, you're already getting some
Hey, Chris.
comments. Wolfgang, Chris, everybody. So, what are we discussing today, Craig? You've got some novelties for us, apparently.
Yeah, for sure. We have what we call our 3 talking pieces, which is good because I like to talk. So that's a good fit for me.
Uh-huh.
We are continuing our theme of what we call the vertical odyssey, and we have watches that are going to come to you. Let's just say at different levels of the stratosphere. So I'll take you through each of those one at a time. Maybe
Fantastic.
we'll start up in the heavens with the new Blast Moonstruck. What do you think about that?
I think that's amazing. That's what everybody's eager to look at right now. So am I, actually. I haven't seen it.
I had already
Besides,
shared the drama with Karan as we were getting set up, but the 3 watches we're going to share pretty much arrived here 45 minutes ago. Now, you may notice from the backdrop, similar to the last time we spoke, we are here in the North American Service Center for Ulysse Nardin. So I apologize if we have any background noise. Actually, my
I
pal
like that.
Steven is in the other room polishing a watch. Could be for horologio. I'm not sure.
Possibly. We don't sell scratched watches.
No, but you sell many watches that your clients enjoy and love to
I
send to
know.
get returned to their original luster.
Very true.
So
All right, let's see
why don't
that.
we start with a face check? You tell me if
Mhm.
I'm too close, too far, or
That's
okay.
actually fantastic where you were. Oh, we're frozen again. Ah, there you go. You're
All
back.
right. What do you think? It's okay?
I simply love that watch. Tell us a little bit about it, actually, Craig.
Sure. So I'm going to open with the same corny joke that I must have used 100 times at Watches and Wonders. So if we're going to discuss the Moonstruck together, we just need to agree on 2 very important points. The Earth is flat, and the sun revolves around the Earth. Because in fact, when the creator of the Moonstruck, a guy whose name I'm sure you know, Ludwig Oechslin, was kind of challenged by the previous owner of the brand, Rolf Schneider, to really put something as close to, an astrolabium clock on the wrist. That first led us to some iconic watches that we call the Trilogy of Time, which were 3 very sophisticated, you could say, astronomical watches. But I don't think we would call them user-friendly, Karan. That's one of those watches that your client walks in and says, "Oh, help me set my my telarium," and you start to break out in a cold sweat. So really, the idea from the beginning with the Moonstruck was to have a complicated watch, a sophisticated display of information, but one crown, and
Wow.
really somehow to make it, without using an overused phrase, user friendly, something that the average, watch enthusiast, maybe not a person who's not so familiar with manipulating watches with more than just the time and a simple date. But I think it's safe to say if you are on board with a Moonstruck and you understand it, you have the ability and actually enjoy, going through the steps of getting this watch properly set up. So in fact, my joke isn't entirely accurate, and I hope the camera can pick this up, but the watch is not entirely flat. If you can see, the crystal has a globe in the center of it where it sort of bulges in the center. So that's interesting. That's a two-piece crystal that we had to create with a gasket in between the two pieces. The gasket is cleverly hidden beneath that gold ring. I know it might be hard for you to see the details, but that gold ring is actually the calendar, a ring that goes from 1 to 31, and you have a small triangle that revolves around it to indicate the date. So the easiest path I have found when we're talking Moonstruck, we're going to start in the middle and work our way out to the edge of the watch. So when we start in the middle, that's the view of the northern hemisphere from the heavens above, looking down at the North Pole. And as I mentioned, the crystal is assembled with a gasket so that it can be properly set. So you don't just have like one shot to glue that globe in place, because this globe is going to, and I know it's hard to see the small details, but the Moonstruck has cities around the edge of the watch, which of course indicate to us that this watch is going to give us world time, time around the world. So we'll start with the very
Craig, everything's set with just one crown?
Yes, that is correct. Now, please forgive me. I did set the time before our interview, but because the watch has literally just arrived before we got started, I don't have the sun and the moon and everything else set. But that is something that's actually going up on our website as well. So just to give as much support as possible, there will be a section of the website that will walk a Moonstruck user through each specific set of information and how to do it. But back to your question, yes, we have just one crown for everything. And then we'll eventually get to what these two push buttons are on the 9 o'clock side of the case, which you, I'm sure, have already deduced. And anyone who knows Ulysse Nardin can probably imagine what those buttons are going to do. I see a question from Peter Campbell. So you have sapphire crystals on the front and on the back of the case. So here you can see the movement fitted with one of our new generation 22 karat gold rotors. We've done a little bit of an aesthetic change to the rotors on our watches within the last 12 months. So we're going to start in the middle. And like I say, you get the view from the northern hemisphere. Then we work our way out. And as I mentioned, you see a golden ring, which is going to indicate to you the actual date, 1 to 31. We continue to work our way out. And that is where we have the moon indication. So the moon is going to indicate to you two things. The position of the moon. So that moon is going to make one rotation around the dial every 23 hours, approximately 30 something minutes. Forgive me, I don't have that exact number memorized, as I should. And it also indicates the phase of the moon. So right now, it looks like it's about halfway done. So whether it's a new moon, a full moon, or anywhere in between, you will get that indication on the Moonstruck. It's what we call a very accurate moon display, meaning if this watch were to be kept on a winder at all times and never come to a stop, then that moon phase indicator would only require one adjustment approximately every 40 years. Then you can see over here, the sun. The sun, I don't know if this camera is going to pick it up, but is made of a pretty interesting material called bronzite. So we landed on bronzite because we wanted to replicate what the surface of the sun would look like if you're looking at it through a telescope. Maybe not quite how the sun would look if one of my young sons drew it. The circle with all the points around it, but really something a little more scientific than that. And like I say, in considering different options, we landed on the bronzite because we felt it really gave that very erratic feel where you have some bronze, some black, and some craters.
So coming back to that material, bronzite, Dan asked the question, is the date chapter ring gold plated or solid gold? Or is it bronzite too?
That's a very good question. It's definitely not bronzite. Um, we're going to have to make a list of questions for me to come back to you. I would assume it's 18 karat gold, but maybe because it's on the outside of the crystal, they may have gone with something more durable. So if I could get a TBD on that one, and we'll make a mental note, and I'll get you any answer.
Oh,
Does that work?
yes, it does. I think your camera is frozen slightly. Yeah, okay. It's come back. Oh. The connection's slightly weak. So just waiting for you to come back. Greg, can you hear us?
Yep, I'm still here. Yeah. I can hear you just fine.
Okay, your camera's a little out of focus. That's why. And then, yeah. So what is the retail on this piece, Craig?
So this is $79,100 USD. It's, like I say, the iconic Moonstruck complication in the sort of fresh face of the brand, which is the blast casing, 45 millimeters. So you have the position of the sun as well, and the sun is going to make one rotation every 24 hours. Little challenging to see on the camera, but if you look to where the moon display is, there's a bit of an ellipse that circles around the moon, which is showing us where you find some high tides. So you can follow that around the dial, match it up with the different cities to understand where on the planet you have your high tides. Then we get to two sets of numbers. If you look at the sun, you'll see that there's some numbers piercing right through where the sun is displayed. And that's going to be a countdown to the next lunar cycle. So to the next new moon, the next beginning of the next lunar calendar. And then you get to another set of numbers around the perimeter of the dial. And you can see half of those have a golden background. Half of those have a dark background. So those numbers are going to work with the cities around the.
We lost you again. I wonder if it's my connection or yours. Guys in the comments, let me know if you can hear me. Okay, Greg's off again. Hold on. We'll be back.
I can see me.
Yep. Now I can. Yep.
Awesome. So the numbers around the outer edge of the dial give you the world time. And basically the numbers that have the golden background are telling you where the sun is shining, where it's AM in the world. And the numbers with the dark background tell you where it's nighttime, where it's PM.
Beautiful.
You also have the push buttons that I alluded to on the 9 o'clock side of the case, which will, of course, move the hour hand 1 hour per push with our patented, very easy to adjust dual time mechanism. And I think that's kind of key on a watch like the Moonstruck, because you have so much information there. By the time you do have the watch set and ready to go, when you step off a plane and you want to change time zones, it's very easy to manipulate. You don't even have to take the watch off to make those adjustments.
Very true. And is this piece limited, Craig?
No. However, it's what we call limited production. So the good news is it's not a limited edition that's going to have a finite run, because we want this to be part of the family. However, as far as quantities we're going to make every year, I think we can treat it as a limited edition, because ultimately I think we're in a good position where we just won't have enough supply to meet the demand on this watch. So this will be an exciting one for a collector to add to his collection. The top of the case that's facing you is a black ceramic, and we match that up with a titanium case back. This one actually has a really cool strap. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but it's what we call the moon crater strap. So it's like an alter that's available with the Moonstruck, where you have like the craters of the moon design in the rubber.
That's very nice. Very, very nice. Beautiful piece. Let's see the back again. We're just waiting for your camera to focus a little. I think the connection's slightly on the weak side. As Dan says, it's like my taste in watches,
Okay.
apparently. But let's see.
Oh, Dan.
Yeah, Dan, just if you don't like, if you're a fan of Omega and Breitling, that means you have good taste. That's what Dan likes. So, yeah, there it goes. That's a beautiful piece.
Well, and you know, it might be the fact that I'm in a workshop that's causing the
Yeah,
weak connection. You wanna take a walk with me quickly to our conference room? I'll stay connected
I
and
would,
walk up the hall and see if that helps at
I would
all.
love it.
All right,
I would
stay
love it.
stay stay there, okay?
Yep, absolutely. While we're waiting for you, do you want me to keep you on camera or when you reach there? Well, while we're waiting for Craig, guys, just so you know, these pieces, Craig told me yesterday they'll be in the store, they'll be in his office, but and then this morning he was shuffling because he didn't have them in his possession, and then finally it just came in before the show started, so that's why we were like last minute. Yeah. So, but that's really cool. So, we're not only just going to show you the Moonstruck, we're going to show you some other novelties he's got there, and you guys are going
I
to
think
have
the
fun.
connection's improving.
It has improved. Yes, it's you're focused now. Yeah.
So welcome to our beautiful South Florida office.
Ah, lovely.
And we're going to go in the conference room here. We actually have a lot of natural light.
Somebody liked your lab coat, by the way.
Somebody must be a watch geek. You know,
Sure is.
it never fails whenever we give a tour of the facility. And of course, we get everyone properly dressed. Everyone wants to keep the lab coat.
That's nice. Okay, so let's see if you have the Moonstruck still. We can take a look at the back again and the front properly. Yeah,
I'm just gonna,
yeah, that's better if you go that way. Yeah, away from the window.
I'll get out of the sunshine.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Beautiful conference room, by the way.
Well, thank you. Look forward to having you here one day.
I want to. All right. There you go, guys.
Is that better?
Yes, much better. So somebody mentioned also that the date window is 18 karat gold according to the website. So that's good.
Wonderful. I appreciate whoever was doing my due diligence for me. I'm going to move the hand so it's no longer on the correct time, but one of the hands was blocking the moon. So there you can see the moon just slightly above where the 6 o'clock position is. And you can see that it's about halfway through the lunar cycle. What's also pretty cool is that reminds me. So this is the only astronomical watch in the industry where you have the lit part of the moon facing the sun, as if the sun was shining on it, which is pretty neat.
Beautiful, beautiful watch.
Sorry, I'm still 2 years after virtual meetings. I'm still getting used to the backwards camera, Karan.
It's totally fine. We still do too.
And you can see the signature on the back, of course, and it may be hard to pick up, but we're continuing to sign the watches with the coordinates of Lilac, Switzerland. So just nice. A fun way and a throwback to when Ulysse Nardin was a name known and associated with navigation as much as fine timekeeping. We sort of continue that spirit, and I think going forward, most of our watches are going to display the factory's coordinates as the secret signature, I guess you could call it.
That's pretty cool. And if I may ask you to just show that strap now, probably we can see the strap a little better with the craters. Ah, that's a lot better. Very cool. And do they have any strap options for this also besides the rubber?
Yep. So we have an alligator.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually have an interesting one. It's like rubber on the edges and like a velvet insert going down the middle. So for some of your upcoming black tie events in Las Vegas, we got the strap for you, sir.
Absolutely. Hopefully, we'll sell it in at the NFL draft this
I
next week.
saw, I saw a comment that there was people excited over the palm trees. So this is
Yep.
our view in Boca Raton, Florida today. So this is our North American headquarters where we all work when we're not traveling. This is where all the magic happens, where all the watches come and go from, and our service center as well.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. All right. So that was the Moonstruck, guys. I think Craig has two more pieces and surprises for you guys. So go ahead, Craig. Take it on.
We'll get a little freaky next. This is called the Freak X Aventurine. And the real star of this watch is the Aventurine dial. So I don't know if it's going to pick up the light and give you a lot of sparkle. Maybe I'll cheat and shine a flashlight on it. So this is, from a technical standpoint, the same Freak X movement that you're all familiar with. Except I guess we could say we took maybe the best of the best from Freak X. So we have found that the most successful, the most sought after versions are the rose gold and the blue titanium. So this watch has a combination of a rose gold case and a blue titanium case as well. Oh, there you can see some of the Aventurine sparkle. And this is going to be limited edition. This is a prototype that I'm holding in my hand, but we're only going to make 99 of these with that dial. And let's see if I'm talented enough to shine the light and get some sparkle. Yeah, you can see it come to life.
There you go. Oh, that's gorgeous.
Yep. You know, a real stunner in person, obviously. We had seen pictures of these watches and renderings of them through the different evolution for the past year as they were tightening them up and getting them ready for production. And to actually, sorry, I didn't have a phone right there, just to have this one in your hand and see the Aventurine come to life was like, wow, you almost get it. This is a hard one to appreciate, I think, when you're looking at, renderings or photos. You have to really put it on the wrist and go back and forth and watch that very cool Aventurine dial come to life.
No, that's gorgeous. So just so you know, there's one thing that Nick said, Ulysse Nardin and GP collab needs to happen, a Freak Laureato. We did a show about, I don't know if you saw the show about a week and a half ago.
Well, I'm a fan. I saw.
You saw that. And did you see the Freak Laureato combination that Nick designed?
So, I don't think that's going to happen, but what is kind of interesting, we do get along very well with our siblings at GP. And I won't name any names, but at our last holiday party before the world of COVID, we have several members of both brands who play musical instruments. So we got a musical performance from what we called the Three Freak Bridges, which was a rock band composed of members of both the UN and the GP team at our co-holiday party, which was kind of cool.
That is cool. So, Greg, what is the retail price on the 99-piece limited Freak?
I'm pretty sure off the top of my head, it's $39,000. So this is going to be the new sort of top of the Freak X range. Freak X was really an entirely new idea. You've had the brand for a long time, and it's an idea that quite frankly didn't make a lot of sense at first, let's say, because you've had the brand a long time, Karan, and you know that for many years there was always like one Freak. There'd be a new Freak every couple of years with some new technology, maybe offered in a new case metal, and Freaks always seem to get more and more elaborate as time went on. And then a few years ago, we introduced the X concept, and like, wow, we have a Freak watch with a crown. We have a Freak watch that's got that's breaking the Freak rules because it's what I would call a hybrid. It's got a base of our in-house movement, the caliber 118, and then on the dial side, you have this Freak arm with the visible balance wheel and the silicium escapement, very visible and in your face. And it just took time for people to sort of understand that as a collection, Freak was expanding, and that's the key word. Now we have a Freak collection for different clients who maybe want, more technical watches, less technical watches, Freak X at 43 millimeters is also a lot less cumbersome than some of its predecessors, so it works better on some people's wrists than others that were a bit more traditional, you could say. And so now you have a real, like I say, an offering where we have a Freak X at a certain technical level and a certain, budget, of course. We have Freak Vision in the middle, that watch very well. And then we have what I'm building up suspense to show you next, what we call the Freak S, the latest superstar, high-powered Freak.
Well, looking forward to seeing that. Just a quick, when will these watches start shipping out to retailers, and when do you think we can have these in showcase?
That's going to vary by from watch to watch, but I think it's safe to say with all three of them by summertime. I'll be slightly vague with you. Watches and Wonders is still only a week or so ago. So, that, of course, is when we met with your team and all of our fine partners from around the world to not even to even place orders, but really to gauge interest. And that assists our factory with a production schedule that hasn't fully been communicated yet. But I think it's safe to say the first pieces for everything I'm going to show you will start to arrive summertime. The Freak S I'm about to show you is a limited edition. It is limited to only 75 pieces. And I think the target is to deliver 40 of the 75 Freak S watches this year. So Freak S is a story that's going to continue for more than just this year with us. And then after those 75 pieces, we'll sit back and see what the next iteration, the next flavor is going to be.
Fantastic.
It's right here. It's right below the camera. I'm just building up suspense, Peter.
Let's go ahead and take a look. I'm itching.
So, welcome to the world of Freak S.
Wow.
So, the S doesn't have a specific denotation. It's obviously for superlative, for sexy. You can take that S in many different directions. I don't know if it's clear, but we'll bring out my flashlight again. This watch has a black aventurine dial. Should come to life a little bit when I shine a light on it.
Yep, we see it.
And that's black aventurine, so it's a pretty cool aesthetic. I don't need to tell you. You can definitely probably see right away this watch has a bit of a spacey feel to it. The movement in particular, a brand new movement, by the way. So that's not an evolution of a previous Freak, a Freak Out or a Freak Vision. That's brand new technology. And what you can see there is a double escapement. So you have two specific escapements. It's not, one balance wheel per se with an axle in between them, but two separate escapements, two separate forks, and definitely too small to be picked up on the laptop camera, but they're balanced out with a differential in between them. So basically, let me try to turn away from the windows a little bit, see if that helps. In the event that you turn your arm in one direction, quickly, and you get one of the balance wheels moving faster than the other, much like the rear end of your car, you have a differential in between them that's going to average out, that's going to balance out those two rates. And those, of course, are double silicium balance wheels made in-house in our factory.
And Greg, I don't know if you can do this, but if you mind changing the time so we can see
sure,
how it works and how it lines.
Even though it's a brand new watch, and for many of our collectors, it's the one they've been waiting for. For the people who maybe said, yeah, Freak X is okay, but like what else is going on at the other end of the Freak collection? Here we are. So now somehow suddenly with this watch in the mix, the Freak X even is more, makes a lot more sense because, we compare them to the world of cars. You can love your Porsche, but you're probably not going to drive your, GT2 RS race car on the street every day. Maybe you have a different Porsche for your daily driver. So in our world, the Freak X is the daily driver, very wearable, very much a freak. But here's your race car to take on the track for special occasions. So this watch, as I say, even though it's an entirely new movement, It sticks with the original freak philosophy. No crown. Technically, there's no dial, and it's all about the movement. The movement is the centerpiece. So just like on most of the previous generation of freak watches, when you don't have a crown, you look for what we call the locker, this little tab at the 6 o'clock position that I'm going to gently lift up. And then once that's lifted, you can just turn the bezel.
It's hard to do with one hand, yeah.
Oh, I'm stubborn, don't worry. I'm going to actually take my glove off to get a better grip. Don't write me up for that, please. And by turning the bezel, so right now your hour marker is right here, and the hour indicator, the hour marker actually floats underneath those indices. And you could turn the bezel in either direction to set the time. Maybe if I do it like this. There we go.
That's amazing.
Yep, forgive me for holding it upside down, but that was the easiest way to do it. And it doesn't matter. Whatever the shortest distance is to get to your desired time. And something else that's interesting, this is an automatic watch, but it does not have a rotor. This is powered by our in-house winding system that we call the grinder. So in fact, that is the first watch in the industry with this type of dual escapement that's powered by an automatic winding system. You already know, Karan, that when you have a watch with a twin escapement, it's going to gobble up a lot of power. So most other brands go the manual wind route to make sure we're putting enough power in there. And in fact, a normal rotor does not provide enough power because, as you know, the rotor is powered by gravity. Sometimes it's robust, sometimes it's fighting gravity, and it's not a consistent flow. The grinder, which is, as I say, a proprietary winding system, is powered by a disc, and it's a disc that moves laterally in all directions, which is kind of interesting because you don't necessarily need gravity for that disc to work either. A traditional oscillating weight, a rotor that's going around in circles, has two levers connecting it to the barrel. Kind of like when you ride your bike, right? You have two legs connecting to the pedals. This has four levers. So I always make the same comparison. It sounds a little crazy, but now imagine, if a horse with four legs was riding a bike, right? And the bicycle cranks had four pedals and you were constantly pedaling. You didn't have that sort of high power, low power that you would have if you're not clipped in, for those cyclists out there. That's how I would explain the advantage of the grinder winding system. And that is why we were able to make this watch an automatic movement, because the grinder, in fact, does give the Freak S enough power to get the double escapement going at the proper rate, and to also give the watch a power reserve, I believe, of 72 hours, 70 or 72 hours.
That is amazing. That is just amazing. I think the grinder was used in the other one as well, right? In the earlier as well with the Freak X or the Freak. You've used the grinder before in one of the
yeah. Grinders in the Freak Vision. Like you delivered a couple of those Freak Visions earlier this year, and that's the only production watch. I believe Grinder debuted on the InnoVision 2 concept watch before my time with the brand. But then in production, it's only, I believe, been inside Freak Visions. So that is existing technology that we carried forward. But as far as the business side of the movement, this is essentially all new.
Beautiful. And the material is 18 karat gold, and you said titanium or ceramic?
Yeah, it's combination. Actually, you have ceramic on what I would call the upper case. So when the watch is on your wrist, the top part of the case where you find the lugs, you have some 18 karat gold mixed into the case sides along with titanium, and you have the titanium case back treated with the DLC finish to turn it black.
Fantastic. That's gorgeous. And the band is alligator stitched on rubber, is it?
Yeah, it's actually very cool. I don't know if it's visible in the camera, but you have these openings with some gold in them as well.
That's exactly what I was. Yeah,
So
that's
similar
really
to some of the styles we've done on the other freaks, but this can also be had with just a traditional, straightforward black alligator strap as well.
Mhm. This is something that Nick said. I think you missed it. He was talking about the website, though the link to the product page itself is not working. So you may want to tell somebody there.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Wow, that's so beautiful. But actually, looking at everything, my favorite out of all the three is actually the first one.
Yep.
The Moonstruck is something that is different, not out there. Um, Nobody has something like this in the market. Yeah.
And Karan, it actually follows a pretty interesting timeline. If you think back to January when Ulysse Nardin and our sister brand Girard Perregaux, we announced our independence. So that's something that was I should say, we announced our return to independence. So at the moment we are still part of the Kering luxury group, but we had what you could call a management buyout, where Patrick Pruneau, who's the CEO of both Ulysse Nardin and Girard Perregaux, along with what we can just vaguely say a group of investors, I'm sure including some other members of our team, bought the brands back from Kering. So for many people in the business, but I think for some collectors in particular, that was very exciting. Under the Rolf Schneider years, I think Ulysse Nardin showed what it means to be an independent brand, to function in your own direction. I mean, to make a freak could be something that, maybe part of a big group says, well, that's probably not going to make sense for the shareholders or something like that. So it's nice that we started off the year kind of getting back to our roots and being independent, which means we can have a much more of a long-term view, you could say, of the brand and the roadmap for the coming years. And then in February, we follow that up with reintroducing the icon, the Moonstruck, something that's very close to the hearts of Ulysse Nardin collectors. And we also, it seems, we rekindled our relationship with Ludwig Oechslin, who we could easily just say was Rolf Schneider's right-hand man, responsible for the Moonstruck, responsible for the Trilogy of Time, responsible for getting the first freak to work for our dual time mechanisms, for our perpetual calendars. And during the Kering years, it went a little dark. We didn't hear much from him. So that was like another part of the momentum, I think, for starting the year off, where people said, hey, especially people who know the brand and the history, said, wow, what's going on there? And then in March at Watches and Wonders to come out with just, the most kick butt freak that anyone's ever seen. It's not easy to replicate what the brand did 21 years ago. And it's almost hard to appreciate today, because we have many watch brands and watchmakers who don't think about the way their grandparents did it. They want to do it their own way. But
Correct.
Somehow, I think Ulysse Nardin launching that freak in 2001 really kind of kicked the door open for anyone who says, I just want to do it my way. I don't care how it's been done. I don't care how watches used to display the time. I don't care what materials have traditionally been used. We want to do things different. We want to do things our way. And somehow I think we followed up that original freak with taking it to another level with the S. There's no question.
It's unbelievable. And the S is great too. I like all three, but I really, really love the first one. And I love the way the double crystal is on the, Moonstruck.
Yep.
It's gorgeous.
And, it's a nice evolution. Moonstruck was previously in what we call the executive collection, in a bit of the older style case. So I just love how this kind of, established complication from Ulysse Nardin. I don't want to say historical. It's not that old yet, but now it's debuting in the Blast. We did that last year with the Blast Hour Striker. Hour Striker is another complication, very close to the heart of Ulysse Nardin and to Ralph Schneider as well. But those Hour Strikers were always made in the classic cases, the very traditional cases. And then last year, with the addition of the Blast Hour Striker, it kind of started, I think, that trend of bringing those important Ulysse Nardin complications from a few years back in the new face of the brand, the new vibe, blast.
Well, that's fantastic. I know there are a few more releases, and you might not have them, of course, yet, but we can do another show on that one when they come out.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So there are new releases that we cannot share with the press yet. So good news, we have some more things to talk about once we get the green light, and that'll happen a couple times during the year. So stay tuned. I think we'll get to regroup again in the spring when we officially maybe announce something. And then, as you know, what's becoming a bit of a tradition in the industry, I think it's going to be in September. We have the Geneva Watch Days, where Ulysse, Nardin, a few other brands sort of have an open house in their flagship boutiques in Geneva and introduce some other new watches. So we have a few things in our back pocket that we're saving for Geneva Watch Days as well. But back to your point, yeah, we'll definitely get a chance to do this again, and let's see, maybe I'll transport some watches out to Sin City, and we'll do this live from Horologio.
I think we should do that, and hopefully, we can have all these timepieces during our annual trunk show as well.
For sure.
So our friends on the channel also will get to see them when they're here in November. So, but as always, thank you so much for doing this. Guys in the chat, if you haven't liked the video, please go right ahead and like. Not for me, but for Craig. And share it everywhere you can so we can get some views and get monetized finally. We're very close.
Yeah. Hey, can I give my son's YouTube channel a shout out?
Yes, please. You definitely
can. Anyone out there who might happen to like trucks, or more important, if you have children who like trucks, look up my son's YouTube channel that just celebrated his 1-year anniversary. It's called That Truck Kid J, where when I'm not traveling the country spreading the good word of Ulysse Nardin, traveling to different truck shows and truck shops and all kinds of things, bringing the world of trucks alive through my son's eyes.
Yep, it's a great channel. I'm subscribed to it. I watch it. He gets solid views.
We're halfway there. He's at 400 subscribers. So once he hits 1,000, I could start considering my retirement plan.
Absolutely. But his views are up there. He's got some 500,000 views or something like that for one video. It's
9-year-old kid. I don't get it. God bless. He told me so. He told me so. It took me time to grasp my wrap my head around it and actually say, okay, how do you actually start a YouTube channel and this and that? And you were actually very helpful, giving me some tips on the editing and the software and such. So rock and roll.
Of course, my pleasure. And guys, just for the sake of it, subscribe to That Truck Kid J as well, please. And let's bring him up there too.
No doubt.
All right, Craig. I think we'll wrap this up. We're almost there, and we're opening the store soon as well. So
excellent.
Thanks as always for doing
this. Of course,
this.
Ron.
Appreciate it.
And enjoy your day. And we're actually working on our calendar later this afternoon with FX for the coming week. So stay tuned. We'll come and do all this. We'll come and do all this live in person with your team, and make sure everyone at Horologio and our friends at Beluso are hip to what we're doing this year.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys soon. Thank you. Like and subscribe.
See you guys. Thank you as always.
Thank you.